Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you for joining us on our first meeting of the 2022 year. The Old Speedway Neighborhood Association is really glad that you can join us either in person or online. We have our town manager, Grant Kleinhenz, joining us today. He's just going to talk about his role for our Speedway town, just a little bit more information about him. If you are interested in asking any questions, we'll have a Q&A. If you want to add into the comments on our YouTube channel or on our Facebook, or give me an email through our email address, which is oldspeedwayneighborhood@aol.com. I'll be checking it periodically so we can ask Grant some good questions. Thank you so much for joining us, Grant. Take it away.
Well, thanks for having me here today. I'll take my mask off. Terrible that we have to do that, but it is what life is now, right? So, well, thank you for the invite today, and I actually received the Christmas card from the association, so thank you very much. It's been good to be welcomed here in the community. I've been with the town now for approximately 6 months. It's not quite 6 months, but close enough. I'm not counting anyway. So started in July. I have been a town manager for approximately 23 years, so this would be my 24th year. I've worked in Indiana, Illinois, and Iowa. Most recently, I was the town manager in Brownsburg, Indiana, which is not too far here from Speedway. So always have had an interest in Speedway. Obviously, the race is a big part of who we are. But having been in Brownsburg in 2011, I saw the fruits of the community's labor in the kind of the rejuvenation of downtown. And I know your group is kind of that area. So it's been really interesting to see that grow and progress over the past decade now, which is amazing how quickly time goes. But to see it go from what it was to what it is now, I think is a true success story. Part of the reason that it was able to get that way was a good plan. The Speed Zone Master Plan was put into effect. I believe it was adopted in 2009. And then work was started on lots of different capital improvement projects there that the town initiated, from road improvements to trails to sewer. I know the big sewer, I've heard a lot of stories about that. Would have loved to have seen that, but I guess maybe I'm glad I'm not here when that happened. That wasn't a great time, but it needed to be done. The roundabout, I know, was another project probably 6 years ago, give or take. Really has made a big difference there in safety, aesthetics, and really acts as a gateway to our downtown. So it's been really good for the town to see those things grow. One of the things that I would love to do here as town manager is to reinvigorate that planning process. We've kind of gone, I don't want to use the word stale, but a lot of those things have been accomplished, and we haven't necessarily identified the next level of projects or initiatives or challenges that we want to tackle. So one of the things I did discuss with the council was applying for an Office of Community and Rural Affairs, OCRA, colloquially, for a grant to pay for a new comprehensive plan. So we actually were awarded that grant in the amount of $60,000. We found out in mid-November. It was late November. And in 2022, we will commence that process of putting together a new plan. That plan will be a community engaging plan. We would love to hear from all different types of groups, from community organizations to churches, the schools, different governmental entities, not only working in Speedway, but just outside of Speedway, obviously Marion County, City of Indianapolis. We have some great opportunities to put what I would consider our next generation of projects together. And it may still focus on Main Street. I think that's always going to be a big part of who we are, what we identify as, and your neighborhood obviously being right adjacent to that is a big part of that. I think it will identify, and I don't want to speak as if I've already decided what we need to work on, but I can see some things we need to work on. Lyndhurst and 15th and 16th, there's some real opportunity there for redevelopment. Old Town Hall property and the fire station there, some of the borage that was just announced a couple of weeks ago as a new restaurant, bakery, really should be an exciting, reinvigorating project that'll bring some new life there. But identifying that next generation of projects, I think, is very, very important. So that comprehensive planning process, in fact, we've already issued a call for engineering firms to submit. It's a qualifications-based selection, so we hope to get 5 or 6 proposals that we can review. We'll have some town staff, some community staff, maybe SRC and others give some input on who we should choose, but we're really looking for someone who has a good vision and can help us kind of, once again, we've had success, but to continue with that success. So we'll probably have that selected by March, give or take, and a contract initiated. I would hope that planning process would start sometime in the late spring, maybe in April, probably just before the race. And then we can use the race as a way to get some additional input, because I think the stakeholders in our community don't all live here. I think race fans, the racing teams, obviously IMS, they're a big part of who we are. And I think we need to make sure we hear from them, and trying to engage all of those people might be a great time during the race. I know people are busy, but that planning process will take approximately 12 to 14 months. So it should be wrapped up by spring of 23. I can't believe I'm saying that, but should be a good process. And once again, we're going to try to engage people from resident groups to businesses to, like I said, churches, schools, governments. There's a lot of partners we need to make sure and bring in on the process. So hopefully that'll go well. And we'll have a new plan that can take us into the next decade. So I think that's one of the biggest things we're working on. The other thing that I've been asked by the council to do is use my experience and knowledge to help establish our systems, our policies, our procedures, how we operate internally and communicate externally. So lots of time has been spent on, over the past 6 months, human resource issues and succession planning, capital improvement planning, looking at our wastewater and water utilities that need some upgrading. We'll be talking about that this year, starting this month. There's a lot of things that just need to have some structure put to. I think we've matured as a community. I know, Michelle, you worked for the town for a while, and I think I'm the 6th or 7th town manager, and I think each town manager has taken another step, elevated the community. And I think that's one of the challenges that I have. Where are we going to go from here, and how are we going to improve? So we're fortunate. We have great people, great department heads, very committed. It's been kind of interesting. We've recently had several who have decided to take that leap into the next stage of life and retire. Most of them we've known about well in advance. We've lost our water superintendent, our wastewater superintendent. Norm was here for 34 years, I believe. Luke was here for about 10 or 11. Chief Campbell, today there was an announcement after 12 and a half years, he's moving into retirement, and there's a lot of opportunities for us to really build a new team. And it makes me a little nervous just because we had such good people, but I have faith in those that we've chosen to backfill some of those positions. And I think that we're going to, once again, make some progress and kind of move into that next stage of evolution for the community. So I look forward to it. I'm excited to be here. Unfortunately, right now, I don't live in Speedway. I want to live in Speedway. I live on the north side of town here. Only live about 15 minutes away. I live at Kessler in Michigan. Maybe I shouldn't give you my address. At Kessler in Michigan, it takes me 15 minutes in the morning to get to work. Eventually, we would love to relocate to the community. The market right now is just not great. So it's good if you own property, right? You're going to make a good killing on that, but it's just hard when you try. I have a family, 5 children, 3 are in school. In fact, our oldest just graduated from college, and so 3 in university, and then we have 2 children at home. So we stay quite busy. In fact, tonight I have to do some guard activities with my daughter, so I have to take her to and from and deal with some of those issues. So we're busy. But love it. I love small towns, and the reality of Speedway is it's a small town. It's 2.5 to 3 square miles, and it's people know each other. I've been able to walk down the streets and see people, and One of my second or third days, somebody yelled from Lyndhurst, "Hey, welcome to town, Grant." And I thought that was the coolest thing in the world. I looked for a bottle to be thrown or something, but it was very cool to get that kind of a reaction. I think they read something in Brocky Brown's Speedway Talk, but that's what makes small towns great, is that connection. You know people, you're familiar with people, you know who you can go to get answers or get assistance, and you can build community. Some of the things we've worked on in my short time, we just successfully had a food drive focused on a couple of food pantries here in our community. It was great to see people bringing in bags of food and really getting behind our community and those who are less fortunate. And I thought that was a good opportunity to build some goodwill, and I thought it was a success. So obviously the logo a couple of years ago was redone. There's been some nice things that have happened, and we hope to keep the machine moving forward, because I think Speedway's done a lot of great things. There's some things we need to get done. The Wilshaw, that needs to be done. We all know that. I've heard that a couple of times since I've been here. And I remember coming in knowing, oh boy, that's going to be a difficult challenge, because it's been difficult for the past couple of years. But we have found a new partner. They are working through their financing. There's been some announcements at the Speedway Redevelopment Commission over the past couple of months. We would hope that moves forward, gets finalized, and they can be back to building that building come the spring. So really looking forward to the future, and I'm just honored and humbled to be a part of the Speedway community. So those are kind of my prepared remarks. I don't know if you have any questions. I see you typing, so you maybe have a few.
We do have a couple of questions, and that's the thing too. As town manager, I'm sure there are so many different things that you are in charge of, know about, and some things are just still, not quite your expertise. But
Sure.
the questions we have, like you said, maybe even personally, like what are your goals in town of 2022? Like what brought you to Speedway to be the town manager, and you said like collectively you talked to the town council, but what are you looking to do?
Yeah, so one of the things that I did when I interviewed for the job was I created a 180-day plan, presented that to the council in the interview. Probably one of those things that helped tilt the decision to me, probably. A lot of the things that I identified in that plan included reaching out to the community, trying to make myself available for people that want to ask questions. I'm busy. Come in the morning between 7:30 and 8, and tonight it's 6:30, and I'm still here. That's not every day, but it's quite a bit. So one of the things that I want to do this year specifically is have a couple of roundtable discussions where residents can come here to our new municipal center and just share their concerns or issues. I've also talked about doing coffee with the town manager. I don't necessarily drink coffee. It's not my thing, but we have two great coffee shops in town. Would love to sit at a table, and anyone that wants to stop by, grab a cup of coffee and just talk about issues. That's something I would like to do. With that planning process, we're going to try to get input from as many people as we can, from online surveys to focus groups and different meetings, public hearings, et cetera. We're trying to engage people. And I've been a little disappointed in attendance at council meetings. We might have 2 or 3 people in the audience that aren't the staff that are here to present. And I've been a little surprised by that. One of the reasons I think that is we do have the YouTube channel. People can stay at home, eat popcorn and drink a soda and watch the best TV, going. I don't know that that's the case, but, would love to see more engagement and people just have that opportunity to voice concerns. I receive phone calls every day. I receive some letters and emails, and I try to respond to each and every one of those. The challenge with this job is I always cannot be a deliverer of good news. And sometimes I have to tell people we just can't do that, or we can do this, but we can't do that. And I think that's been my approach over the years, is deliver the bad news, but figure out what we can do. Maybe they didn't think of this and we can help in that way. So I think that reflects who I am and the way I want the town to operate, so that people can, have their concerns heard and make this the best community that it can be.
Are there any new ones starting in 2022?
In 2022, we'll be doing some more road improvement on the north side. I'm trying to remember the neighborhood name, and it's kind of north of 25th Street and west of Lyndhurst, but I can't remember the street names. So there will be some fairly significant road work there, new curb, gutter, sidewalks, different things like that. We will be applying for a grant through the state, through the Community Crossings grant, to get some additional dollars so that we can double our money and make a bigger impact. So I know that's one we're going to be working on this year. We do have a couple of wastewater projects, the Chapel Hill lift station, which you might say, well, Chapel Hill's not even in our community. Many people don't realize this, but the wastewater plant actually serves about somewhere between 6,000 to 10,000 residents that don't live in the town of Speedway, kind of south and west in Wayne Township schools, Chapel Hill Elementary, and some of those areas. So we're working on that lift station. A lift station is just a big fancy term for a pump that pumps, from houses down to the plant. So we're working on that. We have an engineering firm that's taking a look at that project. We also have some stuff at the water plant that we're going to work on. We have a raw water intake off of Little Eagle Creek. We're going to try to improve that a little bit, upgrade it, protect it a little better, and make it so it's protected from the elements, so we can work on it really year round. The reason we're interested in that is because that is more cost effective for us to draw from that as opposed to our groundwater. We're a plant that can treat both. So if we can get it off the Eagle Creek out of the reservoir, and we have an agreement with the owners of that they have to keep a certain amount of water coming out of that dam, but that's a way for us to continue keeping our costs affordable. That was one thing I noticed. Our sewer and water rates are some of the most affordable in the area. That won't always be the case. There's going to have to be some increases because we have major projects that are needed to be done. But that's a way to, put $500,000 or $1 million into that raw water intake. We can continue to draw water from that source and draw it longer. And if we can get it even through January and February, when things typically get very cold, that's better for us. So those are a couple of examples of projects. I know there's some work going on at Meadowwood and Leonard Park this year. We're gonna move the farmers market up to Meadowwood, potentially, trying to figure out how to accomplish that with parking. That's always exciting. Concert series, farmers market, I think those things will continue to grow. Also, some improvement downtown. We're looking at continuing kind of replacing sidewalk that's broken up and damaged over the past 10 to 12 years and redoing those. We did a little bit of that kind of by Barbecue and Bourbon in that central area. So we've got some work to do north and south of there. So those are kind of some of the major stuff. Now there's lots of long-term capital projects that we're trying to identify and find out ways to pay for and apply for grants. We've looked at ways to, Lyndhurst and Crawfordsville is a very dangerous intersection. We had a death there, I think, a couple of years ago, and we've applied for some state and federal funds to hopefully upgrade that intersection with a potential roundabout or whatever might work the best. We applied for that. We should hear whether we receive those dollars. I think they said by late January, early February. I'm hoping we get at least something. We've also looked at Crawfordsville Road, making some pedestrian improvements to help folks get to, the Kroger and the new Aldi, and there's just some traffic issues there. We all know it. We drive through there. It's not a highly functioning intersection, but those two projects are going to be more long-term. They're not going to happen this year or even next year, but in a couple of years.
Thank you for answering and talking about that, because actually that was the last question.
Okay.
The person had was just like,
Yeah.
There's sidewalks that are being installed near Crawfordsville, near
Yeah.
the shopping center,
Yeah.
because, that section's not very walkable.
Yep,
So
it's not.
it's nice
Not
to
at
know
all.
That's
Yep.
actually in the plan.
It's interesting. There's a lot of different funding sources out there, but they're specifically targeted to a certain program. So one that we applied for, it's called the Transportation Alternative Program, and it does sidewalks, bike trails. So we applied for some money there along Crawfordsville to hopefully upgrade those. So that's an example of we're trying to leverage the resources that are outside of the town and bring those into the community and then match those with our dollars that we have. We're not huge. We don't have the money of some other larger communities, so we have to be wiser and smarter about where we spend and how we spend, and then try to also get additional dollars where possible.
And we have like some really great community organizations like Speedway Trails. That
Yeah, yep.
took it upon themselves to get us more walkable.
Yep.
Right, those two main.
Yeah, the B&O should be done late this year, early next year, basically through town, which is fantastic, and even get a connection down more close to downtown. So I think that's going to benefit our community, our residents, bring more, maybe you don't want to hear it, but more people to town that would shop and eat and help, our thriving businesses become even better. Yeah. I guess what I would offer is, my email's on the website. Anybody has questions, I try to respond to those things. Just understand it might take a couple of days. I might have to check with someone or look into it a little bit more, but I'm always willing to answer emails. My phone, while I may not pick the phone up because I'm not in my office, I am around town hall and I try to respond as quickly as I can. So I'm not afraid to talk to anybody. That's what I do. So. But I appreciate the opportunity today, and I would love to extend an offer to the association as we get into this planning process. I think it'd be nice to have a member from that area serve on that steering committee, because you'll put a steering committee together of 12 to 15 people that will help disseminate information back to the groups and then act as a central point for that planning process. So I'd love to have, Chamber of Commerce, Main Street Association, your association, those kind of things, having input. Shopping centers, probably another good one. Brixmore, we need to understand where they're going, because that's a big part of what our community is. And I know we have concerns about trash and some of the areas out there, and we continue to work with them to try to improve that, but also bring in new offerings that will help people. So that's I'd love to see your organization, as we get closer, we'll reach out and maybe you guys can identify someone to act on that steering committee and then help us. Yeah.
Thank you so very much, Grant,
Yeah.
for coming and talking to us. I appreciate
Absolutely.
that.
And thank you for being flexible tonight. So
Our pleasure.
I appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
I'm going to take over and do my business meeting. Have a good night with your daughter.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.
And you're with
So we're going to continue over into our business meeting that you can still participate with being on live stream. I will make sure that I send out our agenda to all of our members. And I just really basically just wanted to go over a couple of information for our association for 2022. So one thing to keep in mind, we do have slated our February meeting. So we are going to have Leandre Level, who is our Marion County Prosecutor Community Outreach Coordinator. And so he is going to come talk to us, and it is going to be hopefully at our normal time, which is 7 p.m. But once again, we are going to have that recorded or be in person. We want to make sure that we keep everybody safe still with the fact that we have some more contagious outbreak of our pandemic of COVID. So if you feel comfortable coming in person, when you come to the building, we just ask that you wear a mask while you're in the general meeting room. Or if you'd like to watch on live stream, we'll have that available too. So I do want to give a big shout out to Brian Pierce, who has been recording the Old Speedway City Neighborhood Association for a very long time and offering that on YouTube and also on our local channels. So I appreciate Brian coming and still continuing to do that for us. And then also I'd like to thank Mr. Eder Lopez, who is also just sort of like the community outreach for the municipal center. And he was able to make sure that we can have this general meeting room for our general meetings. And we also get to have our board meetings in the building as well. So if you haven't come to the municipal center, you might want to come either on our general meetings, or if you would like to come to our board meetings to talk to our board, you're more than welcome with that. We are still, making sure we're reaching out and getting all of our members for the 2022. So if you have not filled out a form yet and done your membership fee, you can go to our website to download a form. You can go to our Facebook page. There's a link to get to our form that way. If you need us to send you a form so you can fill it out and send it back to us, we are still just kind of asking people to send forms either to our P.O. box, which is at our Speedway Mail Center, or to email us and let us know if we need to send a mail form to you. And we are still just asking for cash or check. Maybe one of these days we will try to do something a little bit more tech savvy, but I think it's been good for us to kind of make sure that we kind of stay with just using our forms and our cash and check. If you need to have our address, please feel free to email me or get in touch with me, and I can always give you the P.O. Box address as well. We are in the process of getting our 2022 membership cards, which will have all of our business discounts. A lot of our businesses on Main Street have continued to support us by giving us discounts. So I know that we have gotten most of our tried and true businesses like Dawson's and Barbecue and Bourbon, Tacos and Tequila, Tolan's Florist, Famous Tomato. We are kind of reaching out to some of our newer businesses. So I know by the end of January, you will be getting your membership card in your mail. And then also we will have a discount of list as well. But something to keep in mind, even though I know on our business cards, our membership cards, we try to list all the businesses that are available for discounts, but we might have more throughout the year. So please check our website. And we'll probably do post on Facebook if we do get any more businesses to give us a discount. And then just to give you the heads up, our 2022 board is Gillian Fletcher, me as president. Barb Hellier is our vice president. Oh, no, sorry, Barb Hellier is our treasurer. I apologize. Regina Torella, Jason Van Sykel, and Janet Fullen, who is our secretary. I do believe at our board meeting we'll figure out who our vice president is. It was Tim Rabian last year, but he had to step off of being the board. So we will have that updated on our Facebook and our website as well, who are our board members and who our titles are. And then last thing, just kind of keep in mind for you, we, like Grant had said, our chief of police, Jim Campbell, retired today. And so it sounds like there's quite a few different positions that Grant and the town council will be filling in for us. And then I just went to the Speedway Public Library. They are having a winter reading program, January 3rd to February 26th. Also, the library published a book called Speedway Voices, which is a $10 book that has all these different memories of different Speedway residents. And it was very nice. Elizabeth Fraser actually had a shout out for our organization in her memory. So she was talking about how in 2007, with the help of Jim Bennett and his junior high school class, was able to get Speedway the historic designation for our section of Speedway. So I thought that was amazing that we were in that book, and also our members, some of our members were also in that book too. So if you'd like to pick that up, it is available at the library. It's called Speedway Voices. We have a town council meeting on January 10th. January 17th is Martin Luther King Jr. Day, which is also a federal holiday, as well as our board meeting. And then our January 10th is our SRC meeting. So once again, please feel free to join us in person or online for our February 7th, 2022, which will be meeting with Leandre Level, who is going to be our Marion County Prosecutor, Community Outreach Coordinator. We specifically asked him to maybe talk about the scams that have been going on, that actually has been affecting some of our residents, and just other ways to protect yourself from either telephone or email or business scams that unfortunately have been kind of proliferating in the Indianapolis area and just in our country. Because we are low on crowd, we won't be able to finalize our minutes. So I also will be sending our minutes to our members. And if you get a chance to look over those, and we can kind of do a vote by email, or we would be looking into seeing if we have more people available at our in-person meeting that we can go ahead and make our meetings official. Was there any questions from the crowd? No? All right. I know sometimes we kind of talk about all the different things that are happening in Speedway, but I think Grant did a really good job. I don't think I can add any more. So thank you very again for coming online and watching Grant talk to us about what's going on in Speedway. I know Speedway sometimes does a town of address, so maybe be showing. And if you do get a chance to also be on that YouTube channel for the Speedway Community TV, there is a video that Brian did of our Light of Maine, and I am in that because we did have a table at the Light of Maine. I got a chance to work with a whole bunch of kids. And also, if you didn't get a chance to watch the Speedway Junior High Choir, they sang for us at our December 6th meeting, so you might want to show that and watch that as well. Thank you very much for your attendance. Have a great day, and please stay warm and safe. Thank you.